All right, so get this. Picture Europe in 1940. Everyone and their mother thinks France has the best army around. They've got this, like, totally tricked out line of defenses, the Maginot Line. Remember that from history class?
Oh, absolutely. Considered impenetrable at the time.
Right. So France is feeling pretty good about themselves. Meanwhile, Germany's just finished up with Poland, right? They should be totally wiped, ready for a nap or something.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? After the beating Germany took in World War I, you'd think they'd be extra cautious. That defeat, it really left a scar on the national psyche.
But instead, they go and launch this insane plan, this super fast, super aggressive campaign that'll go down in history as, you guessed it, Blitzkrieg.
And, you're right, insane pretty much sums it up. The thought of taking on France, let alone France and Great Britain, even some of Hitler's most seasoned generals, they thought it was suicidal.
But Hitler, he's got this different idea. He's like, speed, that's the key. He wants to completely change how wars are fought. And Blitzkrieg, that's his baby. We're not just talking tanks and firepower here, though, right?
Yeah, no, Blitzkrieg was an entirely different philosophy of war. It was about coordinated chaos, striking with such overwhelming force and speed that the enemy doesn't even have time to react, let alone retaliate.
Okay, so I'm picturing this massive German army, tanks and troops just pouring across the border, but there's this one little problem. The Ardennes forest. I mean, talk about a logistical nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. The Ardennes, it's dense forest, narrow roads. Honestly, most military minds at the time, they considered it impassable for a large-scale military operation.
So why on earth would Hitler even consider sending his army through there?
Because everyone else thought it was impossible. See, the Allies, they were so sure that the Germans wouldn't dare try to go through the Ardennes that they focused their defenses elsewhere, leaving it wide open.
So the Germans just waltzed right in.
Well, not quite a waltz. The plan, it hinged on reaching a place called Sedan, a super strategically important point for busting through those French lines. Problem was, to get there, the Germans, they'd have to move nonstop through the Ardennes for 3 solid days and nights.
3 days without sleep. Dude, I'm a mess if I miss my morning coffee. These guys are operating on another level. Soldiers aren't robots. How in the world did they even plan for that?
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Armies, they don't run on pure willpower. Fatigue, it destroys morale, it messes with your judgment, and most importantly in war, it can make you do really stupid things tactically. So the question became, how do you keep an entire army awake and fighting fit for 72 hours straight?
And that, my friends, is where things take a turn for the, well, let's just say interesting, cue the Pervitin, and a scientist named Otto Ranke, who's about to become best friends with the German military.
Okay, so we've got the Wehrmacht, right? Facing down this crazy challenge in the Ardennes, they need their guys up and at 'em for, like, 3 days straight. Then along comes Otto Ranke. Perfect timing or what? This guy's doing research on something that might just do the trick. Talk about being in the right place at the right time, huh? But hold on a sec. We're not talking about some, supervillain scientist here.
Right.
Ranke, he wasn't initially cooking up ways to create super soldiers.
Right.
His early research with methamphetamine, what they were calling Pervitin back then, was more about its effects on everyday fatigue, students pulling all-nighters, truck drivers on long hauls, that sort of thing.
Not exactly battlefield stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then Blitzkrieg enters the picture, and, well, let's just say people in high places started seeing how Ranke's research might come in handy. This little pill, it went from, like, a scientific footnote to a hot topic practically overnight.
I bet the German military took notice. So how does this Pervitin work? What was it actually doing in those soldiers' brains that got the generals so excited?
It's like this. Methamphetamine, it's a powerful, powerful stimulant. Imagine your brain getting slammed with dopamine and norepinephrine. Those are the chemicals that make you feel alert, focused, energized. Pervitin, it gave you this feeling of euphoria, reduced your need for sleep, even killed your appetite.
Okay, now I get why the military was interested. You're about to send troops into a meat grinder. You want them laser focused.
Right. Back then, it must seem like the perfect solution. But we're not talking about a cup of coffee here. The German army, with Ranke's help, actually issued an official decree encouraging soldiers to use Pervitin. They called it the stimulant decree.
Seriously, a stimulant decree. That sounds more like some dystopian sci-fi plot than actual history. And Ranke, the scientist, he was totally on board with this.
Yeah, unbelievable as it sounds. Ranke helps write the guidelines for using Pervitin in the army. It's pretty disturbing when you think about it.
So they've got this plan, this crazy plan. They've got the pills, and they've got the all clear from, a scientist. What happens next? Does this whole stimulant decree thing actually work?
Well, we know how it ends, right? 6 weeks, that's all it takes for France to fall. It's tempting, really tempting to just say, boom, Pravutny equals instant victory.
Yeah.
But like always with history, it's messy.
So it wasn't just the pet pills that took down France.
Not even close. Think about it. The Germans, they caught the Allies completely off guard. The plan itself was brilliant. And yeah, the Allies made their share of mistakes. They just weren't ready for that speed, that ferocity.
Makes sense. It's never just one thing, right? But still, knowing what we know now about Pravita and how it messes with your mind, your judgment, it makes you wonder about the choices being made out there on the front lines.
Oh, absolutely. It really changes how you see things, doesn't it? We talk about strategy, big picture stuff. But what about the individual soldiers? The guys making split-second decisions, life or dead, all while hopped up on this powerful stimulant.
And we can't forget, this wasn't just some harmless pick-me-up. This was a drug, addictive, dangerous, and it might have played a part in one of the biggest turning points in history. That's heavy stuff.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About the true cost of war. You know, it goes way beyond the history books, the dates, the battles. It's about the human element, the choices made under unimaginable pressure. And in this case, those choices, they were made with a chemical wild card thrown in. Makes it hard to judge, doesn't it?
It really does. It makes you question everything you thought you knew. And you know what? That's what's so fascinating about digging into these stories, right? History, it's not just dates and names. It's a web of choices, actions, and yeah, sometimes even a little chemical enhancement. It keeps us on our toes, makes us rethink what we thought was true. And that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? It's a reminder that there's always more to uncover, always another layer to peel back. And that's what keeps us coming back for more.